Welcome, Guardian Scholars. We are now starting week 5, and if you can believe it, by the end of this week, you'll have finished your first essay and you will be 1/3 of the way through the semester. So let's get started. For week 5, we're going to begin with our Zoom class as usual at 10:30 to 11:30. I do apparently have more consistent internet access now, and so hopefully the sound will work better. About half of the meeting will be devoted to our book club crew meetings, your discussions, and I'll be putting you guys into discussion groups and breakout rooms and kind of joining groups as and moving from one group to another. And then the second half we will devote to talking about Essay 1, seeing what questions you have, giving you some pointers on drafting. We'll have our weekly reflective journal. I did add a short video on the writing process since we are talking about the writing process in the journal. I know one person already submitted the journal, that's okay, but if you're not familiar with what's meant by the writing process, that might be a good thing to look into. After that, I have 2 short videos on ties and CEC. And so those are things that I mentioned in the videos on essay structure, but I'm going more in depth into them because they will really help you develop your body paragraphs. So one is ties, tag, introduce, embed, split, and this is different ways of incorporating quotations in your essays. And then once you've incorporated this, you also want to make sure that you sandwich the evidence that you're getting from either Research Quest 1 or from Grit, or both of them, with a claim that you're making, followed by that evidence you're getting from outside sources, and commentary. And so I have 2 videos on that, and then a short quiz. It's a 2-question quiz worth 5 points, and you can take it over if you don't get it right the first time. And so it's really about learning, not so much about testing you. It's testing in order to learn. How about that? The very, very most important part of this week is the Essay 1 rough draft and the Essay 1 final draft. So those 2 things you really want to make sure you turn in. And I really highly recommend that even if you have been asking for extensions on other things, that you don't do that on Essay 1 because you will not be able to do the peer review and get full credit. So basically, Tuesday night, 11:59, you need to submit your rough draft. And so you'll submit it as we have before. And then afterwards, you will be automatically assigned people to peer review you and you to peer review other people. And so that only works if you've turned it in on time. If you don't, then you miss the peer review portion of the assignment. And you miss the feedback to help you get from a rough draft to a much more polished and developed final draft. So within this, I just wanted to point out that it's important to look at all parts of it. This explains the peer review. I have the prompt get repeated, so if you've already downloaded it, you don't need to download it again. I have a checklist that you can use both for analyzing your own essay, but also for peer reviewing, and the checklist really ties directly with the essay rubric. So if you look at the questions on the checklist, they connect with the rubric. And then how to submit. So I mentioned that extensions are not granted for the rough drafts and peer reviews. Either you do it or on time, or you don't get the full credit for that. And then I have the grading rubric for the final draft. And so just to kind of explain what I'm looking for in the essay. Okay, so this is really important, and it also relates to our power-up. If everybody in your book club crew turns in your rough draft on time, you all get extra credit. So you can encourage each other to turn it in on time, even if it's not perfect, right? And one of the things that I will say to you more than once is value completion over perfection. We will do better if we finish the work, get it in, and get feedback on how to improve it. So then on Wednesday, what I thought we would do is actually just take that hour to do the peer review together. So if you want to do the peer review on your own time, you certainly may do that. But if you feel a little nervous about it because it is a new thing that we haven't done before, come on in, make sure that you have access to a computer to do the peer review on if you can, a Chromebook or a laptop. It would be ideal. And what I will be doing is basically helping you guys through the process on it. And then also, as I'm helping you with that, I can also answer questions on people's rough drafts as well. And so I'll be doing both of those things. But certainly, if you feel comfortable doing the peer review in your own time and maybe Wednesday morning just doesn't work for you, go ahead and do it as long as you do the peer review by um, Thursday night at the latest. The research library workshop, the people who went to it last week really, really liked it. It seems like they got a lot of value out of it. So I am reposting it here because there's going to be another one on Wednesday, September 23rd from 1 to 2 p.m. And so you can do the extra credit. If you've already done it, you can't do it a second time. But if you have not done it, there's another opportunity, and I'll repost it again future weeks. So, the Writing Center. I know that this has been probably the most difficult part for a lot of you, and it's really meant to be a support. So, I am working on trying to get uh, a schedule of who's available at the Writing Center, what hours, so that when you are on, you kind of know who to look for. And but the other thing I wanted to point out is this week is actually worth 20 points. So this week, what I'd like you to do, and I have a downloadable version of this, but it's my own DLA that I've created, where basically you gather everything you need for the rough draft, including the rough draft. You write down at least 3 specific questions about your writing assignment. You mark any sections of the draft of your essay that you want to talk about. So it's a great idea to highlight or underline or do something else so you can find it quickly and you don't spend a lot of time searching for it. Um, Now, one thing is, it works best if you're working with somebody at the Writing Center through Cranium Cafe to screen share with them. The other thing that worked well, I worked with a student who, not from our class, who had a Google Doc, and she just shared the Google Doc with me. She made sure that I was able to either view or comment. And that worked out really nicely, and I was able to look at her essay even better than when we were trying to screen share. Um, if you think you want more than 10 minutes on the conference, you might want to take a tutoring appointment. That's also available through the virtual Writing Reading Center. So basically, you can do this on a piece of paper. Write your 3 questions. Write down the name of the instructor. I should include here also write down how long you spent on the activity, and then write at least 3 full sentences about what you learned from the conference. Now, the thing that I'm going to add on here, and I realized just now that I need to, is I'm also going to add the Smart Thinking tutoring link. I'm not too familiar with this, but I had several students who used it in the spring. I believe it's asynchronous, so you submit questions in a draft to the Smart Thinking tutors, and I'll be putting a link to that in the weekly wrap up launching announcement and email as well. And so, but I'll put that link in here too. And so if you're trying to do the Writing Center and you're just not getting in, try doing the Smart Thinking Tutor instead and see if that works better for you. Because I really want the Writing Center to support your success and not become an obstacle. Um, so we'll have our 3 S's. I decided to start including what the step is. This is building your optimal study environment. That can be tricky for some of us when we don't have total control of our environment, but there's some good hints and tips in there. I have a support activity for English 91 that is focused on proofreading strategies. And so I have a video that I made in the spring explaining what strategies I think work really well. And then again, this is a graded survey, so it's no right or wrong answer, but I have some questions for you, and you get participation points for doing the survey. Or not participation, you get English 91 points for that. On Friday, what I would like you to do is first submit a draft to Turnitin. So when you look at the Essay 1 final draft, it's not due till Saturday. However, I'd like you to submit before Friday, because one of the things I want to teach you how to do is how to use Turnitin, not only to check for plagiarism, but also to check for grammatical errors and to fix them. And if you haven't done it ahead of time, that can be a problem. Now, if you try and you're absolutely confused, I might be able to help troubleshoot with that as well. What I wanted to say is you can resubmit your essay once you've revised and edited it and fixed it up. And so Turnitin allows you to submit, I think, up to 3 times. So you don't want to submit it again and again and again, but submitting it once before Friday will actually help me help you learn how to really polish your essay. So we'll be focusing in on that idea of proofreading and grammatical errors and other kinds of and citation issues and how to fix them before the final draft, if that makes sense. Okay, and so that takes us to the Essay 1 final draft. Now, here's the thing is that Canvas does not allow me to pretend to be a student when it comes to Turnitin. Blackboard, I used to be able to be a fake student and show you how to submit. So again, what you would find is that it says submitting an external tool, and that tool is actually Turnitin. So you will see how to turn it in here, and it's very much like what you've been doing. You can copy and paste into it, though that does ruin the formatting. You can pull things from your Google Drive. You can upload a PDF or a Word document, and then it'll show up in here, and then what you will end up seeing sometimes it's almost immediate, sometimes it takes at the most 24 hours, but what you'll end up seeing here is this little report that shows you, one, if there are any potential issues with plagiarism that's accidental, like if you quote but you forget to put quotation marks in. But it also has all these great grammar tools that I really want to show you on Friday. So I want you to submit before Friday so that you can use those tools and then resubmit by Saturday at 11:59. And this is worth much more than almost anything else we've done this class. So I highly encourage you. If you have turned in Research Quest 1, if you've turned in the pre-writing, you are well on your way. If you've been doing the reading in Grit, you are well on your way to being prepared to do this. So this was a little bit longer than usual, but this is a very important week, and I hope that you found this helpful.